Here we go. If I can keep it all on here. You make it look easy. Okay. Well, thanks to everyone for coming. And thank you, Genjo, for your kind words. One of the things I most appreciate about Zen practice is that the ceremonies that we have often follow sesshin, a week-long intensive, where you have an opportunity to sit down and think about this stuff. And do I really want to do that? Genjo offered me a wonderful mirror during this session to really reflect on that. Reflect on the responsibilities of doing this job or playing this role. And anybody who knows me knows that I like dress up. And so he did his best to enforce on me that capacity or that pleasure is one that needs to be undertaken with a lot of care. Because while it is a great bait, as he suggested, offers us an opportunity to see the best of ourselves, it can also be used, as I think we all know, for less benevolent purposes. So this is a stern warning that I received. Thank you. One of the things that Genjo spoke about a lot today was reflection and mirror. And it's something that I really spend a lot of time thinking about during this session. And during Genjo's talk, really thinking about it. And then, since the time I was a kid, I think I always thought priests were cool. I liked the robes. I thought, maybe one day I could do that. I like the form. I like the incense. So for me, this peacock was a great draw. But I just realized that it's a great trap or a sort of road that ends up empty, because I've had these wonderful robes for a couple weeks. Venerable Doshu did so much of the work, all of the work to prepare them, and I've had them in my room at the Zen Center, and I'm able to look at them and admire them and say, oh, isn't that lovely, and won't it be cool to put those on? But now that I've put them on, I realize that there's this big trick. That when you put them on, you don't get to see them anymore. And this is a great lesson in perspective, that these robes aren't for me. When we practice, we have to look at the other that we're looking at as a reflection of ourselves. So it's not for me to dress up like this Buddha, but so that when you have doubt about that nature, about that love in your heart, you can see it reflected in what's sitting in front of you. And if I'm to do my job, the only place that I'm going to see these robes is in your eyes when you come to meet me in practice. And that's something that I look forward to doing for the rest of my life. And I hope that you'll join me in doing that. One of the things that really struck me during this session, for those of you who have been around the Zen Center for a long time, and have been involved in the many struggles and challenges that I've had personally in practice and in lineage, and organizationally have seen us through, I was thinking that there were many times where I felt alone, where I felt like nobody understood what was happening, nobody was with me. I was just out there having to push this great weight. But the sesshin, I had this image of a mother with a child who the mother wants to teach the child its own strength and its own independence. Mm-hmm. And the child says, I want to go here and I want to go there. And the mother says, okay, honey, I think you can do it. I think you've got the strength. And he goes out, but the mother follows him, always staying just around the corner, just behind a sign, making sure that that child is okay, making sure that that child is supported. And so the sesshin, I thought about this feeling of being alone and this feeling approaching this ceremony, and the sudden utter absurdity of it struck me. I look around and all I see is bodhisattvas who have been just behind the sign. You know, when I was going to fall, put something under my foot to keep me going. And so as much as this ceremony is for me, it is for this whole community, this whole sangha, this whole world. And I'm so grateful for your support. Now I have tears on the road. Part of the job that I have today is to give a talk referencing some of the teachers in our lineage. And so as I've continued my practice, there's been a couple of particular teachings that have been a great strength. And I have to say, for a long time, they had a specific meaning that really changed in this past sesshin for me. The first piece I'm going to read and talk a little bit about is from the Rinzai Roku, the record of Zenji, from whom our whole tradition takes its name, Rinzai. It's from the record of Rinzai, chapter 18 of Teaching the Assembly. Therefore, when I look back over the past 12 years for a single thing, having the nature of karma, I can't find anything even the size of a mustard seed. The Zen master, who is like a new bride, will fear lest he be thrown out of his temple, be given no food to eat, and have no contentment and ease. From olden days, our predecessors never had people anywhere who believed in them. Only after they had been driven out was their worth recognized. If they had been fully accepted by people everywhere, what would they have been good for? Therefore it is said, the lion's single roar splits the jackal's skulls. I used to have a real macho kind of a attitude about this piece. Having been thrown out of a few places, it's easy to get attached to that macho lion's roar. But this is not just a warning or an admonition for Zen masters, but for all of us. We can't be concerned with that having enough and maybe just a little bit more. You have to go beyond that to this place, this seat of love, this seat of truth, the seat of straightforwardness, and proceed from that. Even when your livelihood, your relationships, your current comfortable situation is threatened, you have to go to that place and live from there. Live from that love. It's terrifying. But when we, I think in practice, in life, whether it's Zen or whether it's any practice that you do, when you make contact with that, you can struggle. Situations will come up and you'll struggle. Say, God, I can't let go of the job. I can't let go of my place where I live. I can't let go of this relationship with this person. But that voice will continue to speak. And you'll have this little argument in your head. And whether you want to understand it as the Buddha voice and the Mara voice, or the sage voice and the primal animal voice, or you want to understand it as the lion's voice and the jackals. The jackals who want enough and a little bit more, or the lion who speaks the truth. And when we listen to that, when we take hold of that depth and that love, it's not macho anymore, but it's irresistible. And it's not about being fearless, but about proceeding forward in spite of that fear, because you know it's the right way to go. It's the way of love. And that brings me to the second part, which is something we chant every time we sit together. And it's the last part of the final admonition of Shuho Myocho, Kozan Daito Kokushi. It says, none of this will mean anything if you cannot carry the untransmittable, wondrous way of the Buddhas and ancestors in your heart. Soon you will come to ignore the law of cause and effect, and the true spirit of the teaching will fall to the ground. Such people belong to the family of Mara and should never call themselves my descendants. Yet if there is just one person living in the open fields in a leaky hut, eating root vegetables boiled in a broken pot, leading an upright life devoted to the investigation of the fundamental activity of this self, this is the grateful person that meets this old monk face to face every day and is to be respected. What more could one aspire to? Work hard, work hard. This practice that we engage in together is a practice of mirrors, smoke and mirrors. It's an opportunity for us to meet each other, to let go of our individual separateness and see one another in our true home, our origin, one true nature. But as Genjo has pointed out, this is something that needs support from both sides. I need to continue to clarify my practice. But also, if I'm going to be an effective mirror, I need your help and I need your support to stay clean. I need the support of my board to keep me on track. I need the support of my ethical friends to keep me on the straight and narrow path. So I vow to do all that I can to support you in your practice, and I hope that you will do all that you can to support me in mine. It's one practice together. That's it. Thank you.
Now we're going to do the preface to the Four Great Vows by Tori Zenji. And Tori is a direct Dharma descendant just after Hakuin.
Oh, can I interrupt for just 1 second? I also really want to acknowledge my family. My wife and kids, who let you all in, clean up after you and me. So, thank you.
That they can put up with him is a big deal, but also says a lot about his potential. So that he can merit such a family. So Tori Zenji's Bodhisattva vow preface is something that this direct descendant of Hakuin put out about how it is that we live with a loving heart. Together. When I, a student of Dharma, look at the real form of the universe, all is the never-failing manifestation of the mysterious truth of Tathagata. In any event, in any moment, and in any place, none can be other than the marvelous revelation of its glorious light. With this realization, our virtuous Zen ancestors extended tender care with a compassionate heart, even to such beings as beasts and birds. Among us in our own daily lives, who is not reverently grateful for the protections of life, food, drinking, and clothing? It is clear that these protections are nothing less than the warm flesh and blood, the merciful incarnation of Buddha. Realizing this, who cannot be respectful of all senseless things, not to speak of a human being? Therefore, even if someone names us as a sworn enemy and persecutes us, we should be warm and compassionate towards them. Their very abuse conveys the Buddha's boundless loving kindness for us. It must be seen as a compassionate device to liberate us entirely from our own egoistic delusions and attachments we have built up from the beginningless past. With an open-hearted response to even the most cruel and foolish people, a most profound and pure faith arises. Then, in each moment's flash of our thought, there will grow a lotus flower, and on each flower a Buddha will be revealed. Everywhere is the glory of the Pure Land. In every moment, may we extend this mind over the whole universe, so that we and all beings together may attain maturity in Buddha's wisdom. Now, the Four Great Vows have lots of different translations that I've seen in English. This is my preference, but I far from feel that it's perfect. All of the great vows, first of all, a bodhisattva is someone who gives their life to the service of others, so that everyone may have the possibility of opening fully to that loving, deep potential within all of us, dropping away and transcending more and more of the fear. And so the first vow is called the Great Vow in and of itself, and the next three support it. It says, however innumerable the beings are, we vow to care for them all. Some translations say save, but I don't think there's anyone to save, because we all have this loving potential. So there's no one to save, we're already saved. But we vow to care for each other and towards each other while we realize and become more aware of this fundamental truth of our deep loving nature. And then the next three are the supporting vows that allow us to care for one another. Our delusions are inexhaustible, but by digesting them, we become more and more clear. And in a way, delusions make a great tea, or they give us something, a great broth in which to brew compassion by seeing our delusions clearly and relinquishing them one by one as they come back. They're like weeds in a garden. It's okay as long as you keep weeding, and then the garden can look pretty pristine, although you're never done with delusions. Therefore, we are never complete. We're never done with delusions, nor would we ever want to be done with delusions, because delusions keep us vigilant, keep us on our toes, keep us growing, keep us expanding. And who doesn't want to grow and expand? So, however immeasurable the gates to truth are, we vow to enter them all. This is, this tells us that everything is our teacher, because everything is reflecting deep Buddha nature if we have the eyes to see it. The tree is our teacher. The rock is our teacher. The fish is our teacher. The bird is our teacher. And the dog shit is our teacher. And when we confront or meet our teachers and every circumstance and every so-called enemy as our teacher, then we are going to learn more and more about our own deep, true nature if we can look towards everything as our teacher and every circumstance. And however the Buddhist way is, we vow to follow it, endless. It is quite endless, so we are never complete. We're already whole, but we're never complete. And we vow to walk the walk, not just talk it. It's easy to talk it, and it's not easy to walk it. And we are making the vow to walk it, of having a caring, open-hearted attitude towards all beings, great and small, animate and inanimate, and towards all circumstances, to have an open-hearted, caring attitude. This is our great vow. In English. However innumerable all beings are, we vow to care for them all. However inexhaustible delusions are, we vow to relinquish them all. However immeasurable gates to truth are, we vow to enter them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, we vow to follow it. Now we're going to do the same thing in the traditional verse, repeated 3 times. And this sampai at the end is where we are doing these 3 prostrations facing the boss, the Buddha up there. And we're all going to turn and face this icon, which is this mirror of our own Buddha or awakened potential, and allow that deep loving nature in us to be the boss. And when we do these 3 prostrations, and if you're unable to do a prostration because of where you're seated or your body won't allow it, then just a bow. But as you do those 3 bows, be diving into these 3 treasures: the truth of our own Buddha nature, the truth of the underlying unfolding Dharma all around and through us, and the truth that we're interconnected and interdependent, and all one being, one mind, one body. So, traditional verse.
Shujo Ruhen Segando.
Please remain standing. Thank you all. That's it.